Hello. Are we live? I think we're live. All right. I am Eric.
I'm Crystal.
And we are with Dog Psychology and Training Center. And today we're going to be talking about love languages and how that applies to your dog. How do we look?
A little bit.
All right.
Maybe
Cool.
Bring this closer. I don't know.
Cool.
We just want to make sure you guys can see this. So we're going to bring it a little closer. Okay, that should be good.
There you go. Cool.
Can you squeeze in there? We can maybe push this back a little bit.
All right, we're adjusting here.
Okay.
We're adjusting.
Sorry, guys. We thought we were ready, and then once we went live, I'm like, gosh, that's hard for me to read. So as Eric said, we are with the Dog Psychology and Training Center, and our topic today is going to be love languages. We are a family-owned and family-ran dog training business. So it's really important to us in our relationship with each other, and our relationship with our kids, and even our relationship with our dogs and our client dogs that come in. Love languages are kind of the foundation of all of that as far as making it work successfully. Mm-hmm. And the reason love languages are so important to us with client dogs is we don't force your dog to listen to you, and we don't want to bribe your dog to listen to you. We want your dog to listen to you because they're part of your family. And the way we do that is finding their love language, what makes them feel loved and appreciated, and using that to promote good behavior. So the dog wants to keep doing that good behavior because they get exactly what they need to feel satisfied and fulfilled in their relationship with you. So we're going to get into that. We'll probably talk a little bit about human love languages and a little bit about dog love languages as we see them come into our training, and then help you identify what your dog's love language is, and then how to use that to promote those good behaviors that you want more of, and to decrease those naughty behaviors that you don't want any more of.
Yes.
Okay.
So gifts. So we can start off by talking about what does this look like with your dog? So gifts, obviously, that's pretty easy to figure out when we're talking about humans. Receiving gifts is receiving anything that somebody gives to you. Mm-hmm. So with gifts with your dog, that can look very similar. It's you. Go ahead.
I was going to say food or treats. I mean, those are best gifts dogs get. So there can be some overlap with some of these love languages. Like for a human, getting a written letter or actual card could be a gift, but it could also be praise, that words of affirmation. And so you'll see some overlap here. And don't get so caught up on, well, my dog is all of these. Well, your dog should probably have a little bit of all of these, but there's going to be one or two that are really prominent that you notice always works for your dog. If it only works with your dog sometimes, it's probably not his love language.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you're continuously trying to love your dog in a way that that's not their love language, then they're not going to receive it as well, and you're kind of going to be wasting a lot of that effort. Mm-hmm. For example, our Mastiff has no food drive.
None.
She has no interest in food. That is not her love language. So if all of our efforts in building a relationship and working with her, training and getting her to listen to us was strictly using food, we would not get very far, and we would be banging our head against the wall. So figuring out what your dog's love language is going to save you a lot of effort and make your time better spent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if you're like me, a mom with 3, there is no time, right? So we need efficiency, and this is what's going to help. So we're getting started on gifts, and I kind of got us off on a tangent. Sorry.
That's all right. They expect it.
Are the acts of actually giving things to your dogs. So I do want to touch upon this one, though, to say that some dogs that come through us, a lot of families will always say, oh, it's food, definitely food. And that's not always the case. Some dogs just naturally want to eat, but that doesn't make them feel loved and appreciated. Mm-hmm. And so there's a difference in having gifts or giving your dog treats as their love language versus just conditioning your dog to treats, because that's what a lot of families do unknowingly. But I mean, what does the media tell you? If your dog goes potty, give it a ton of treats. Well, that may not be their love language. And just by forcing that on them, you're not really learning who they are. So they might be conditioned to knowing that's how you love them, but that's not what makes them feel loved. So we'll hopefully help you kind of decipher that and learn how to see through that to know, is it something that you're doing to make you feel like you love your dog, or is it something that actually makes your dog feel loved and appreciated?
Yeah. I would even say that your dog is going to pick up on your love language as well. So for example, like what Crystal was talking about, if say every time you let your dog out, when they come in, you're super excited and you give them a treat, and that's the time, that's like some of your best quality time that you have with them. That could be that they really like that quality time with you. They like that. That's when you're excited. Those are like the best moments that you share, because every time they come in that door, you're smiling at them, you're on the floor with them, like you're touching them. So
and the food's irrelevant.
Exactly. So they might take the food out of showing you love because they know you love giving them food, or just because that's accompanying something that they really, really do enjoy. So
so we'll kind of run through these real briefly. I just want to touch upon them, and then we're going to go back and kind of delve into some of them. So gifts, bringing your dog gifts. Service, acts of service. This is a tough one for us because Morgan's this one. Acts of service is engagement with your dog. So actually doing things with them. This could be Frisbee, this could be tug, this could play hide and seek, this could be scent games. It's actually participating with your dog. It just was difficult with the Mastiff, who has like a 5-second stamina, because we'd get out the Frisbee and we'd get like maybe 2 fetches, recalls, and then she's done. But that's her love language, always has been. Touch. Some dogs are just physical touch. We had a dog that we would have a command called die, and they would roll over on their side and pretend like they were dead.
We like point our little finger gun at them. Die.
And they'd all just and they weren't supposed to move, not even wag their tail. But there was always one dog that if you just touch, his tail would start going. Clearly, his love language was physical touch. Praise. This is me. I always tell my families, I work for praise, just like dogs. I'm words of affirmation, meaning what makes me feel the most loved and appreciated is when people acknowledge good things I've done verbally or tell me that I'm awesome. Just little things like that really feed my love tank. And then time. And this is another one that can kind of be confused with touch, is that dogs that like quality time are often those dogs that are going to come and lay at your feet or lay next to you on the couch. Maybe lay on your lap if they're not pushy or bratty about it, because there's a difference between using that as their love language or using that to dominate, own you. But that time is they just want to be near you. And so a dog that comes to mind that we had in for training recently was Miss Charlotte. Miss Charlotte was not the friendliest of dogs, and it was a lot of misunderstandings her whole life because she hated physical touch. I can relate. I did the whole love language quiz. They updated their app, so I redid it. I'm 3% touch.
Out of 100.
Out of 100%, 3% touch. I don't like touch. It's not my thing. And so Charlotte loved quality time where she'd come up and lay next to her family or want to be close to the company that would come over to visit her family. And then they thought, oh, she wants me to pet her. So they'd go to touch her, and then she would take it for a second.
Very agitated by the touch.
And then she would lash out, growl, snap, or bite because she absolutely hates physical touch. But the only way she could get quality time was by being touched. And so you can see where that turmoil, how do we say it? Turmoil would kind of mess with her head a little bit, right? Like the only way to get what she truly loves is to endure something she hates. And so finding how to balance that love language has really helped her relationship with her family, because now they understand when Charlotte comes to lay next to you, just don't touch her. And as much as you want to, that's only satisfying your needs, not hers. Her needs are being satisfied by not touching her. That makes her feel like queen of the world, like the most loved and appreciated animal ever. So just learning some of these love languages can really help that relationship. Mm-hmm. So diving into them, we started mentioning a little bit about gifts. Do we want to do that one again or just go on to service?
Go ahead, lead. Okay. Lead us, Crystal, lead us.
I hate being the leader. So gifts were actually giving your dogs food or toys. Not all dogs are food motivated. So Morgan is kind of gifts with toys and service. She loves toys, dislikes anything edible besides carrots.
She'll, if anything, she will play with the treat if you give it to her.
Oh, yeah.
When we go, when she's our demo dog at expos and stuff, oh, can I give your dog a treat? Sure. She'll bat at it on the floor. She might pick it up and drop it, but she ain't eating it.
She never eats it. She just gets it really slobbery and gross, and then we have to pick it up.
Right. Then nobody wants it.
Acts of service. So this is my husband's love language. It's the act of doing something for your dog that makes them feel loved or appreciated. So in human terms, that would be me taking care of some of Eric's chores for him and kind of catching it before he gets to them to let him know, like, hey, I was just thinking of you and I got this done. For dogs, that could be more of actually engaging with them in play. So we talked about tug, playing fetch with a Frisbee or a tennis ball, hide and seek, scent games. There's so many scent games that are super easy and fun to do, but these dogs are really going to thrive on that acts of service. Touch, physical touch. We talked about our dog that you could just poke and his whole body vibrated. It's pretty easy to see when your dog's love language is physical touch. Praise, one of my easiest dogs that I've ever had was Corbin, and his love language was words of affirmation, praise. And it was the best thing ever because I didn't have to give him food. I didn't have to give him toys. I didn't have to pet him. He didn't have to be next to me. All I had to say was, good boy. And that was it. Like that was his moment in life that he felt achieved and appreciated. And it was the easiest love language by far. And then time, spending that quality time with them. So letting them cuddle next to you, be at your feet, on your lap, next to you on the couch, laying on the floor with them. Those are all quality time. So how do we use these to reward dogs? Well, gifts and toys is pretty obvious, right? You can have a hoodie on where you can hide some toys in that front pocket. You can have some training treats in your pockets. And as your dog does these random good things throughout the day, or as you cue them to do them and they actually do them, don't bribe them to do it. If they don't do it, then you just put that toy or treat back in your pocket or don't get it out in the first place and move on and try it again later. So as your dog performs that good habit, get out those praise and make them feel appreciated. By praise, I mean food or treats. Acts of service. So for that one would be actually engaging with that toy. So toys could be a gift, but you can literally toss the toy and the dog will have at it by themselves. They'll tug on it, they'll chew it, they'll shake it, they'll do all that by themselves. And that's good enough for them. These dogs, acts of service, they need more than just tossing the toy out. They need you to be at the other end. And that was Morgan. Like she couldn't just she still can't play by herself. She has to come up to you and be like, play with me. And so we have to pretend tug. She's 100 pounds. And if you pull too hard, she just lets go and pouts. So you have to let her think she's winning, 100-pound Mastiff. But she has to be engaged with, right? Otherwise she doesn't feel that appreciation and she won't play with her toy.
And I'll say too, there's different dialects of each of these love languages too. So like Krista already touched on, gifts that can be food, treats, toys, etc. Acts of service can be, if we're talking about playing games, there's a number of different games that we can play and there's different ways that we can play games. For example, if your dog's love language is more so gifts, you can just throw the toy and they'll have at it by themselves. If their love language is acts of service, they may like you chasing them. That may be the dialect that they're most fluent in, if you will. They might like to chase you. So they might enjoy play more when you have the object or the toy and you're running and they get to chase you. Or they might like when you're both kind of close to it and it's the excitement of who's going to get it first? Yeah. So there's different dialects of all these. And once you learn what your dog's primary love language is, you can kind of dig a little bit deeper and figure out what really gets them going.
Exactly. Did we talk about touch?
We haven't got to touch yet.
Okay. So touch, physical touch. It's very simple, right? Your dog does something good, you pet them. And Eric was talking about different dialects of the language. There's also different levels that you can give this love language depending on your dog's level of obedience. So what I mean by that is when we start a command like sit, it's super simple and we come up with a distraction ladder. What's going to be the silliest, easiest thing to do? Usually it's walk a circle around your dog. And then it's dropping food or dropping treats or dropping toys, whatever their love language is, we organize it that way.
Right.
So if their love language is not food, then we'll use food first because we know that's not going to be really, really important to them. If it's toys, we're gonna definitely use that last. If it's just dropping toys, we're gonna use that last. If it's actually playing with the toys, we're gonna use that last. So we're gonna go through, okay, we're gonna drop food, we're gonna drop standalone toys, and then I'm actually gonna play with the toy by myself as my dog's sitting and holding it and kind of baiting him to say, like, look how much fun I'm having, but you still have to listen to me because it's really important that you do what I said. So using this as a distraction ladder can help you also strengthen the quality of your obedience commands.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a good thing to kind of identify, because like a lot of the videos we post, you might see us doing some of these things with dogs, and you might think, oh, I want to try that.
Yeah.
And maybe food with the dog that we were doing a video with on, the first week of training, that wasn't their primary love language. Right. So if that's your dog's primary love language, it's going to be a lot more challenging for you. So don't let yourself get hung up on, I saw somebody do this at this level of training, so I should be able to do that with my dog. If their love languages are different, that difficulty is going to be totally, totally different. So that, just another example of understanding this is going to make it's going to expedite your progress and make your life a lot easier.
Yes. So physical touch, super easy. So touch levels of giving it to your dog based on the level or quality of obedience they're giving you. It could be maybe just a quick pat on the. I had a dog last week, and then we didn't need a demo, like a little stuffed dog. I stole out of my kid's toy box. I had it last week, so I didn't have to make up my own dog, but I'm going to do it anyway.
You can use me.
So I'm going to make up my own because I don't want to.
Don't want to be weird?
I don't want to be weird.
Physical touch is not her love language. She does not want to touch me right now.
No, I don't. So touch, if a dog did an okay job, I might not give him any touch, or I might give him like minor touch, like good boy, and that's it.
Yeah.
Pull away real quick. If the dog did a phenomenal job, like he just made some huge progress, maybe it's not perfect, but it's a huge step in the right direction, I'm going to get down on the floor and just let that dog slobber all over my face, and I'm going to hug them if they liked being hugged, scratch them all over, and I'm going to give him as much touch as I can very briefly so that we can fill up his love tank for the job he did good, and then move on to try maybe a harder distraction element for that training lesson. So when he does that huge step in the right direction, you'll notice that progress taper because that just got him a ton of love, right? So the next time he does it the same way that he just did it, I'm not going to praise him the same way. I might go back to oh, good boy, let's try this again. And I want to strive and show the dogs that the better they do, the better my love language is given to them. Mm-hmm. So the more I'm going to use my love language to speak to them how well of a job they did. And if you do it this way, you're actually going to teach your dogs to strive to be better instead of letting them be stagnant and making you work some of it, right? So we always want them to just try to be better because we're always growing, we're always learning. And so there's always that room for improvement. So touch, praise, super easy. Again, talking about that distraction ladder, using our love languages. If a dog does an okay job, I might be like, good. If he does a better job, I might be like, oh, good boy. If he did a phenomenal job, I'm probably going to get down on my knees and be like, oh, what a good boy. You did such a good job. And use all that baby talk and all that, smooshy, fast, high-pitched talk that makes the dogs feel loved and appreciated. So again, using your language to communicate the level of performance that your dog did. And then time. So this one's always hard for me because I'm a fast-paced person. I'm a mom. I don't got time. To just spend time with you. But I have to force myself for those dogs that come in that have quality time as their love language. It's not okay for me to sit on the ground with my phone and just kind of. Yeah,
this is I think this is an important note to say because we've probably all heard or seen stuff on Facebook about families where everyone's disconnected, they're staring at their phones and the kids are right there, but the kids aren't getting any attention and the kids feel that, right? Dogs in so many ways are very, very, very similar to a young child. So don't think for a second that if you're trying to spend quality time with your dog and you're staring at their phone, that they don't realize that. They know that you're not there. So,
or you're talking to someone else or engaging with somebody else. Like it needs to be that attention focused on the dog. And if they don't like touch, then it needs to literally just be sitting there doing nothing, just randomly glancing. Don't stare at your dog,
right.
But just glancing at him, making eye contact every once in a while, and let them know, like, I'm here for you, bro. You did a great job. If they do like physical touch, then obviously pairing that quality time with some petting and some loving that way. But that is how we would use this to promote the behaviors we want to keep seeing. For behaviors that we don't want to keep seeing, we kind of reverse engineer this. Since my love language is words of affirmation, if I get told I didn't do something good or right, that's that's like a stab in my heart. I'm like, oh my gosh, how can I make this better? Because that's not okay with me. Like, I just can't handle it. Whereas like my son, whose love language is 100% physical touch, I can tell him he didn't do a good job with sweeping up his crumbs, and he does not care at all. Like, words of affirmation does not rank on his love language at all. Like, we're the complete opposites. And so using their love language to kind of reverse engineer telling Raider that wasn't a good job isn't enough for him. It doesn't make sense. But if I walk up and I touch his shoulder, or I show him with the broom, like, look, pointing out each of these objects with him, like, you missed all these. Oh, wow, I can't believe I missed all these. So knowing your dog's love language can help you reverse communicate. I don't want to say reverse. You don't want to reverse your love, but to communicate, I'm not fond of what you did, in a way that truly gets to them. Because if it doesn't get to them, then it's not going to work. So verbally talking to my son doesn't work. Physically showing him, pointing out things with him does. So reverse engineering that. So for gifts, it would be, I ask you to sit, and your dog usually knows you randomly give them something. If they do it, you just put that treat back in your pocket and walk away because they didn't do it. Sorry, we're going to go another way. And your dog's going to be like, oh my gosh, I totally thought you were just going to give that to me. Wait, can we redo this?
Right.
And you say no. You make them stew on it a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying be like me, like, look at this, you can't have this. I'm putting it in my pocket and I'm leaving. But like, calmly put it in your pocket and walk away. And your dog's going to be like,
this sucks.
What do I got to do next time to get that treat? And your dog might, because, you know, they've been conditioned. Some dogs have been conditioned so well that they always get the treat because you're always like, sit. No, sit. Look, I got your favorite treat. Oh, you don't like this one? Let me get a better one. Oh, look, I got a better one. Sit. And then they finally sit and you give it to them. Some dogs play that game. And if you've played that game with your dog, expect them to put up some resistance when you say, okay, fine, and walk away. You're going to come back the next time and say, sit. And they're going to stare at you dumbfounded, like, where's my food? And they're not going to do it. So you just put it away. And usually about like the third or fourth time you come up and say, sit there, and like, okay, I really want this treat. I'm on to your game. I got it. I think I figured it out. This is what's going to work for me. So using that gifts, the toys or the food as that reward, right? If they don't do it, we just put it away. Don't make your dog do something to give them love. Service. That would be actually playing with them. So kind of the same principle as gifts. If they're not doing it, the game goes away. Right. Literally put it up on a shelf out of your dog's access. I wouldn't even let them play with it by themselves. It's gone. You lost that turn. Touch, physical touch, same thing. If you're not going to sit, don't pet them. If your dog's love language is physical touch and you always push them off of you when they jump, guess what?
You're still giving them physical touch.
You just filled up their love tank for them jumping on you. So how would you get your dog to not jump? This one is always kind of silly to people. They think, oh, it's so simple, but literally giving them the cold shoulder. So as your dog jumps, you literally just take your arm across, like, so squeeze your arm in between you and your dog and just brush them off with your shoulder or back arm here. Don't like elbow them. That's not nice, but just shrug them off. And as they keep trying to, just shrug them off. And it literally is like no different than me trying, just like, you come up to talk to me and I do this. It's rude, right? And their dog's going to see that and be like, oh, well, that wasn't very nice, because jumping's not very nice. So when they sit and you turn and give them that attention, that touch that they so desperately need, they're going to learn, oh, to get my love tank filled, I have to be polite. Huh, who would have thought? Praise. Very similar. We talked about using our praise on lower levels, building up to that excitement, joy of like an exceptional job well done. If your dog's not doing good, usually those are the dogs that might be more sensitive to a properly conditioned no. I say properly conditioned because sometimes no is thrown out so much the dog literally thinks it's their middle name and they don't know it means stop. When we teach no, I don't want it to be a mean word. I don't want it to be a word that elicits fear or scaredness. What I want no to mean to a dog is, what you're doing isn't right. Let me show you a better way. So it basically means, look to me. Stop what you're doing and look to me. So if your dog's chewing on a shoe and I say no, they should drop the shoe and look at me eagerly to be like, oh, I can't chew on that. What can I chew on? And then I can show them. So for praise, those dogs are going to be more alert to those verbal cues of no, stop, enough, whatever your trigger word is when you get upset or angry with your dog. They're usually going to be a little bit more sensitive to that. Or if they're not, once we teach them what that word actually means, then they do become a lot more sensitive to it. And then time. So same thing. If you wanted to cuddle with your dog but you asked them to sit first and they didn't, sorry, you can't cuddle with them right now. Walk away. You don't have to walk away for an hour. Just walk away for a minute or a few minutes or however long you feel like is necessary to get the point across to your dog. They say that dogs have the average IQ of a toddler. So for you parents out there, or for you people that are aware of a toddler's mentality, they live pretty fast and in the moment. So if you say, sit, and they didn't, and you literally walk away and leave the room, and then you come back 30 seconds or a minute later and you say, sit, it's like the whole thing starts over again. Like, oh my gosh, we're doing this again. So it doesn't have to be like a week that you just don't talk to your dog. That's crazy, right? But letting them.
Yeah, it doesn't take a lot to make a big impact, a big impression on a young child or a dog. Very similar mentality.
Exactly. So that's kind of how we use the love languages to show the dogs that come into training how much we love and appreciate them, and also how we show them how to love and appreciate us, right? Because for your dog to live with you and your family, they need to be held responsible to the other levels that the other members of your families are in, right? Like, so your kids, there are jobs, chores that your kid has to do that they may not like doing. Dishes, trash, but because they're part of this family, that's their responsibility. And it could be, maybe they don't have chores. Maybe it's just house rules. Like, your kid knows they can maybe help themselves to one snack before dinner, but they know it's not okay to invite 10 friends over without permission, right? So there's all these different levels that families have as far as coexisting in the same house that your dog can be held accountable to. Like, there are house rules that cannot be crossed. There are expectations with your manners that can't be crossed. And there will be consequences if those manners or obedience isn't met. And so those consequences don't have to be mean. They don't have to be painful. They don't have to be scary. They shouldn't be, because that's mean. But they should be a consequence that makes your dog think twice and say, that's not what I was going for with that. How do I get actually what I want? And making their brain work a little bit to help you out with this relationship, because a relationship goes two ways, right? You can't just give and not get back, and your dog can't just take and not give back, right? Is that right? Did I say that right?
It made sense to me.
I hope it made sense to you. Mom brain over here. Things don't always come out of my brain the way that they think or said in my brain. I think I just made that really more confusing too. We're just going to move on. So let me know, do you have anything to add?
Yeah. So I would say, like, if you're really struggling with your dog on anything in particular, I would suggest that their love tank might be empty. Mm-hmm. So,
talk about love tank real quick, because I
mentioned
love tank,
it, but I didn't explain love tank basically, anytime that you're say if your dog's love language is acts of service, anytime that you're doing something that's acts of service, you're pouring into their love tank. So when their love tank is full, they feel happy, they feel loved, and they're gonna behave better, right? Just like I treat people better when I have a full love tank, I'm able to make deposits in other people's love tank. I feel better. I feel nicer. So if my love tank's empty, then I might be more grumpy, irritable, and not so nice. I don't have enough in my tank to make deposits in other people's tanks. So if you're really struggling with your dog, or if you feel like you've hit a wall, if you've got a behavior that you feel like you are not making any progress with, regardless if it's obedience or if it's like a problem behavior, your dog's love tank might be empty, right? They are not feeling loved. So if you can dial this in and figure out, what can I do to fill up their love tank the fastest, right? So if it's words of affirmation or praise, like maybe that's not your natural love language, so you don't talk to your dog that much, right? You just try to give them food all the time or play with them, and they're like, that's okay, but really I want you to talk to me, and I want you to not just talk to me like this. I want you to talk to me like you really mean it, like you're really excited. So if you start to do that, their love tank fills up. You're going to see you could see a complete 360 in some of their behaviors. So and so if you don't have any idea, like some of you're listening to this and you're like, boom, I know exactly what my dog's love language is. I've just never thought of it like this. I've never been in tune to it. So if you don't really know, I would take some notes, like maybe write down these 5 things, screenshot this, and try each one of these things. Try a couple different versions of each one of these things and see what really gets your dog excited. If you get out food and they're like, sure, I'll take that. Okay. Maybe try a couple variations of each of these love languages. And there's going to be 1 or 2 of these that as soon as you present it, they're going to be like, boom, just bubbling. They're going to be overflowing, right? So as soon as you hit that, you're gonna realize it, and then
I have two things too.
And then play around with different dialects of that, and you have a very powerful tool once you figured this out and you've dialed it in. Go ahead.
So I forgot one already. The first one was, this is not original to us. This is by the book from Gary Chapman, The 5 Love Languages. If you haven't read it, I would highly suggest you do.
Fantastic.
For family, for partners, for your dogs. I actually read The 5 Love Languages of Children first, and I found so many similarities to the dogs that we have come in for training, and that's why we started implementing it. So the other thing, and I remember the second part is we have a canine epidemic of canine obesity. So if your dog is overweight or not at their ideal weight, try not to give them, if their love language is gifts, that doesn't have to be food. It could be ice cubes, right? So just water.
Right.
It could be toys. And there are other healthier options that you can start substituting for your dog. The other flip side to that is if your dog is really overweight, maybe their love language is gifts. That's probably why they're a little plump to begin with, right? Because they love food. But they may not want to work for that food because their fat stores are good. They're not hungry because they're kind of workers. Which is really cute for us humans, right? We like to see pudgy dogs, but think about their life expectancy, their longevity, and their quality of life.
Yeah, their comfort.
For me, dogs don't live nearly long enough, right? Like I want every minute, every second I can get out of my dog's life. And so I make sure that they have an ideal weight, that they eat a quality food. And it's my responsibility to make sure they get ample exercise and that the right amount of food, not too much and not too little. So if your dog is borderline that gray area of, I'm not sure if he's overweight or not, he probably is.
Yeah.
And so try to limit the amount of food rewards that you're giving and try to find alternatives. Ice cubes are a great hit. My dogs love them. They go crazy over ice cubes. They don't ruin the floor or make messes like some biscuits do when your dog has a slobbery face and drool all over the floor with them. So ice cubes are a great alternative, but it could also be toys. So you can find little toys, obviously not small enough your dog can choke on them, but little toys that you can easily hide in your pockets throughout the day to randomly reward your dog for making those good choices.
And use your, if you are using food, it doesn't have to be in addition to what they're eating. It can be what they're eating already.
Right. You could use their kibble.
So if they eat 3 cups of food a day, like cool, take that 3 cups of food like while you're training with them.
Right. We literally dish it out in a Ziploc baggie so we can actually know how much of their food we've taken out to give them as treats and rewards so we don't overfeed. Because it's easy to.
It is.
If you don't measure, then you're like, I think this is enough, maybe a little bit more, and then it's too much. So we've been there. We know.
Cool. I think that gave people a pretty good.
Yeah, I was just waiting for you to finish.
I was going to close, but
okay. Well, before you close, we always say, as always, subscribe or share this if you think it could benefit you or someone else. But the second thing is we're kind of playing around with surveys on this one because they had like a poll you could do. And in that poll, we asked what your dog's love language was: gifts, touch, praise. And we could only have 4. So we combined service and acts of service and time, I think. Is that what we did? I don't know. 2 of them are together because they limited us on our option. Facebook, come on. So if you could do me a favor and fill out that poll, 1, will let us know if it even worked. 2, we're always curious. We just want to know, what is your dog's love language? And if you don't know, just take a guess right now. We're not going to hold you accountable with it and be like, 3 weeks from now, you said it was gifts and now it's acts of service. Are you kidding me? We're not going to do that. So cool. Thanks for being here. We love being here with you guys.
Yeah,
it's one of our favorite times throughout the week. And we will look forward to seeing you guys next week. Bye.
Bye. How can I give you a gift right now? Right. You guys are great. You guys are fantastic. I love you. Acts of service. I can't really do anything for you other than share this information with you. So freebie, feel loved.